What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Purple and Gold podcast. And today we are going to be having a mock draft for the first 10 picks of this year's draft. And with the first pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars need a quarterback. And I think it's a pretty clear-cut decision that they take Trevor Lawrence. Dylan, what are your opinions on this?
Unless the Jaguars are pretty stupid, I think it's pretty obvious that they're going to go with Trevor Lawrence. He's one of the best prospects since Andrew Luck. So, yeah, it's pretty obvious there.
All right. So Trevor Lawrence is the obvious first overall pick to the Jaguars. Now, this is where things can probably shake up a little bit. We don't really know what the direction for all of these teams are, especially for a team like the Jets, who are going to be getting a new head coach. We don't know who that is yet. So there are a lot of decisions to be made here. But I think the most logical pick here for the Jets would be Justin Fields. I think he's the second best quarterback in this draft. And I think with a new head coach, they're also going to want to bring in their new franchise quarterback. Micah, any thoughts?
I totally agree. I think the Jets have a lot of open space, but I think the number one position that they need is a quarterback. They need a good leader, and that's what Justin Fields is, especially with the new head coach, as you said, that they're coming in. So I think that should help them a lot.
Now, do you think there's any chance here that Zach Wilson goes above Justin Fields?
I think there could be a chance, considering how the Jets draft, they're not the greatest either. But honestly, I think Justin Fields is probably the best option, and I think they'll take him. So I don't really see a chance of Zach Wilson going up above him.
All right, Justin Fields is the pick for the Jets at number 2. Not number 3. We have Nathan here, who hasn't spoken yet. He is the Dolphins fan. Obviously, this pick came in a trade for Lermy Tunsil with the Houston Texans, who had a horrible season. But now that pick belongs to the Miami Dolphins, and there are a lot of options they can go with here. A lot of people are saying quarterback. Some people are saying build up the offensive line. Others are saying get more weapons for Tua. Personally, I'm a person who believes that they should get more weapons for Tua. And I think the best option here would be Jamar Chase. I think he is the overall best wide receiver in this draft. And Nathan, as a Dolphins fan, what do you think about this?
Well, obviously, a lot of people do want Tua to be replaced. And for good reason, he didn't have the best of seasons this year. But I also think that you should still give him a chance because it was only his rookie year. And when you look at guys like Peyton Manning, they were all awful there, or he was awful his rookie year. So if I was the Dolphins, I would actually really consider trading down in the draft to draft Devontae Smith, the wide receiver, or Jamar Chase, any weapon that Tua can throw to. But also, if Penny Sewell is still available, I would consider taking him as well.
So, obviously, a lot of options here on the table for the Dolphins, but we're here stuck at 3. So, what do you think the pick is, Nathan? All 3 guys are still available.
Well, I think I would go with Penny. I just think he's the best prospect overall, and an O-line is something that they also really need, and they can probably find some weapons in free agency. So I would go with Penny.
All right, I think Penei Sewell actually might be one of the safest picks in this draft, and he's obviously one of the top offensive lineman prospects at tackle that we've seen for a long time in the draft. So, yes, I can agree with this pick. Although I would take a wide receiver, Penei Sewell makes a lot of sense here for the Dolphins at number 3. Now at number 4 is Dylan's favorite team, the Atlanta Falcons, who obviously underperformed under Dan Quinn this year, which is why he's gone. And this is another team early in the draft without a head coach at the moment. So a lot of options here. Obviously, there's a lot of rumors that Julio and Matt Ryan might be out of town in the near future. So, Dylan, what do you think the Falcons do here at number 4?
I'm a Falcons fan. Obviously, our season wasn't the best. I think Matt Ryan's time is up. I think we draft a quarterback, and depending on what the head coach wants to do, you can put him under Matt Ryan, have Matt Ryan, train him and stuff, make him smarter for this game. or you can put Zach, a quarterback right in. I think Zach Wilson is this is a good pick for him right here. Um, I like Zach Wilson. He kind of reminds me of Johnny Manziel without all the problems that Manziel had when he entered the league. He's really fast as a quarterback, and his decision making is pretty good. So yeah, I like Zach Wilson here.
I also think Zach Wilson makes a lot of sense here at number 4 because it's not often you're going to see the Atlanta Falcons picking this high up in the draft. And in a draft where it is quarterback heavy, I think it only makes sense to get the guy of the future, especially if there are a lot of questions about Matt Ryan. So Zach Wilson definitely makes the most sense here at number 4. Now, number 5, still a lot of options on the table here with the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, Joe Burrow is going to be coming back from his ACL injury, and this is a very confusing team at the moment. We don't know what the direction is, what exactly this team is trying to do. But I think we can be certain that because Devontae Smith and Jamar Chase are still here on the board, I think it only makes sense for them to pick a wide receiver, either of those. And AJ Green is going to be leaving town. He wasn't much of a factor this year, and I think Joe Burrow could definitely use another weapon like him. Micah, what do you think they do at this pick?
Originally I thought Penny was gonna drop because I personally think that the Dolphins would take Jamar and Zach Wilson would go to the Falcons, but honestly, at this point, I think they would take either Devontae or Jamar since they're not off the board. But um, honestly, I think they would take Jamar because I think he's a better receiver than Devontae right now. I think he's a safer option, but I think Joe Burrow needs more weapons to throw to since AJ Green is leaving.
All right, Nathan, what about you?
Well, we discussed earlier that the Dolphins might actually trade down to take a wide receiver. And so I think a real possibility for this draft is the Dolphins trade down. They get their receiver here, and the Bengals get Penny Sewell, who they desperately need in this draft. But if the Bengals still have this pick, I agree, and I think they should take the best weapon available for Joe Burrow, which would probably be Devontae Smith.
All right, so obviously, you guys know that I am a Jamar Chase over Devontae Smith guy. Micah agrees with me, and Nathan opposes. So, Dylan, is it Jamar Chase or Devontae Smith here at number 5?
Both of these receivers are really good. I actually personally think that Devontae Smith is better than Jamar Chase, but if the Bengals have both of them available, I think Jamar Chase would actually be a better pick. He's already played with Joe Burrow, so they obviously have that connection already. So yeah, I think Jamar Chase is a better pick right here. I'd rather have Devontae Smith, but since the Bengals have Joe Burrow, they've already played it together. We know what they did in that 2019 season. So yeah.
That is definitely a good point. I think there's still a lot of debate between which of these guys is better, but knowing what this dynamic duo can do, especially what we saw in the national championship a year ago, I think Jamar Chase makes a lot of sense here. But Devontae Smith could easily go here at number 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did after the season that he had this year, claiming the Heisman Trophy. Now here, there is a lot of corruption here in Philadelphia. Obviously, Doug Peterson getting fired just a few days ago after tanking in that Sunday night football game against Washington. And there are a lot of question marks here, but I don't think that there are a lot of question marks at the pick. I think this is an obvious wide receiver selection. What do you think, Micah?
Yeah, the Eagles really need weapons. They haven't had weapons in like a couple of years, and that's what's giving them a lot of trouble. Which I think they take Devontae Smith over here, but the Eagles are definitely questionable, obviously, because for selecting Jalen Rager last year, which was very questionable. So you never know, but I think Devontae Smith is the best option for them.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree with that. The weapons that they have right now in this Eagles team consist of Alshon Jeffrey, who can barely stay on the field. You have Jalen Rager, just like how Micah mentioned. He had little to no impact on this team last year. They also have Travis Fulgham. I wouldn't bet on him again because he's a practice squad guy. He might just be a guy who came in for a year and just put up nice production numbers. And then we also have Deshaun Jackson who's coming back, but none of those guys really wow me at the wide receiver position. So I also agree that that Devontae Smith should go at number 6, and that's the pick that they're going with here. Now, here's another interesting team, the Lions. They have a lot of guys that are going to be leaving this year, especially in that wide receiving position. So obviously, you see Jamar Chase go and Devontae Smith go. We could possibly see the Lions trade up to number 3 with the Dolphins as another trade up scenario to get one of those wide receivers because Galladay is on contract and he doesn't have a new one set up for him yet. And Marvin Jones will also be leaving. He's their touchdown machine. So you're going to be left with a bunch of no-name receivers at that position, and that's definitely not going to help out Matthew Stafford at all. So, Nathan, what do you think happens here?
Well, you say that they need to help out Matthew Stafford, but I also think it's a huge possibility that Matthew Stafford is gone after this year. But you never know. He could stay. And so I think at this point, it would be smart to take a wide receiver just because you're assuming that Stafford is going to stay and Galladay is probably gone. So I think I agree. I would go with the best available receiver, which would be Jalen Waddle. So yeah.
All right, Dylan. Now, Nathan brings up a good point here. We still have Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and Kyle Trask. Those are the 3 quarterbacks that have been highly regarded coming into this year's draft. Do you think the possibility of them taking a quarterback is higher than picking a wide receiver at number 7?
It all depends on if Matthew Stafford stays or leaves. If he stays, then yeah, I don't see them taking a quarterback. That would be kind of stupid. I also think that a good pick here, if they can keep one of their wide receivers, would actually be Micah Parsons. He's a pretty good linebacker. He blitzes a lot though, so I'm kind of worried about how he would be in coverage. But um, yeah, their defense is horrible. I think we all know that. I think they gave up the most points. They like tied. No, sorry. I think they tied for like the most touchdowns ever allowed or something like that this year. So they definitely need defensive help. So yeah, Micah Parsons could be a good pick here. Jalen Waddle could be a good pick, and then if they decide not to go with Matthew Stafford, a quarterback could definitely be a possibility.
All right, so obviously a lot of holes to fill here with Detroit. We already knew that. This is one of the worst rosters in all of the NFL. I don't think there's any debate against that. So we have opened the possibilities of them drafting a wide receiver and also a quarterback, and also possibly someone on the defensive side of the ball, which is extremely weak in comparison to their offense, but neither of them are really good. So, Micah, what do you think here?
I really think that they're gonna take Jalen Waddle only because the only reason is that their defense it is bad, but I don't see them taking Micah Parsons because I think they're gonna stay with their linebackers Jelani Tavai and whatever their other guys are. I honestly don't know, but I really can't name one receiver on that team since Marvin Jones and Galladay are gonna be out. I don't really know who else is gonna be like. They probably I don't know if they're gonna even have Danny Amendola, but he's not really any help. So I really think they're gonna take Jalen Waddle here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think Jalen Waddle's the pick here. Unless you want Quintez Cephas and a Wash Muhammad Sanu at wide receiver, then yeah, go for it. But otherwise, I think they take Jalen Waddle here from Alabama. So that's 3 wide receivers taken here in the last 3 picks. I don't think it happens here in Carolina. And Carolina is a young team, up and coming. Matt Rule obviously putting something special together there. Last year's draft, they picked all defensive players, and I don't know if that changes here at number 8. Obviously, you can see their top needs according to the Draft Network would be linebacker and cornerback. And you have a guy like Patrick Surtain who's still here and an edge rusher like Kwity Paye. Nathan, any thoughts?
I agree. They probably could use some defensive help, but I also kind of think that if there's any team that needs a quarterback other than maybe the Falcons, Jets, and Jaguars, it's the Panthers. So if I was the Panthers, I would actually consider taking Trey Lance here just because, I mean, you still have Teddy Bridgewater who can kind of do the whole guiding him thing. And, Trey Lance is an up and coming guy. He has the potential to be really good too. So personally, I would go with Trey Lance.
I think that Trey Lance pick actually makes a lot of sense. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater isn't there to lead the Panthers to the Super Bowl. He's a bridge quarterback, like we've seen from guys like Tyrod Taylor, who have just gone to teams and bouncing around as they draft their rookie quarterback. So, yes, I think that Trey Lance could definitely be the pick here at number 8. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
I have to disagree with that pick. I mean, I'm not saying there's no chance that they're gonna take Trey Lance. I wouldn't. I would take Patrick Surtain. Their secondary is not that good. They have Jeremy Chin, who was actually a really good pick from this year's draft. But honestly, I can't even name one corner on their team. I think maybe besides Dante Jackson, but James Bradbury, he was good, but he left. He went to the Giants. So I like Patrick Surtain here.
All right, so we have one offensive choice here from Nathan, one defensive choice here from Dylan. So, Micah, be the tiebreaker right here. What do you think, offense or defense?
Well, it is kind of tough because both sides, I think, do need a little bit help in their own way. But I think that they're gonna keep Teddy Bridgewater at least for one more year, just so they can see how he produces this next year. So I think they're gonna take Patrick Surtain because they do need help in their secondary because all they have is Jeremy Chin basically. Because Dante Jackson, yeah, he's good, but like he's not gonna be the person to step up and be their number one corner all the time. So I really think they needed a lot of help over there.
Yeah, Dante Jackson has just been more of a speed guy. I wouldn't say he's been great in coverage. He kind of looks like a Dory Jackson out there sometimes, but other than him, the only corner I know on their team is Corn Elder, and I don't think you want a guy named Corn out there covering the top wide receivers in the league. But I think we can't rule out the fact that Trey Lance could possibly be the quarterback of the future for the Panthers. This year, Teddy Bridgewater threw 15 touchdowns to 11 interceptions. Obviously, not promising if you're looking to win games. Who knows, they might have something with PJ Walker. The possibilities are endless with the Carolina Panthers, but we all know that they're headed in the right direction. Now, here with the Denver Broncos, they obviously need.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I'll let it explain. Also, about the Panthers, Teddy Bridgewater obviously didn't have a great year, but they also missed the best running back in the league, in my opinion, Christian McCaffrey. So it doesn't. I'm not saying Mike Davis isn't good, but it doesn't help when your best running back is there. And yeah, it's what I would say.
That's very true. I mean, Christian McCaffrey might be the most useful player. He might be the most valuable player in the league when he's on the field. So obviously, that is a good point by Dylan. Maybe Teddy Bridgewater will improve his game once they get Christian McCaffrey back. All right, so now back here to the Broncos, who have the 9th pick. Obviously, that defense got old since Super Bowl 50, which seems like ages ago. And now they got to replace all those guys on defense. They believe that they have their franchise quarterback in Drew Lock, and I don't see them going at the quarterback position. So I do think that they focus on this defense, and I think Kwity Paye right here from Michigan would be an amazing pick for them. Let's go to Michael. What do you think about this?
I 100% agree that they're gonna take him because I if I was them, I really wouldn't trust Drew Lock. But Drew Lock here, I think they would probably give him more years because they I think they truly believe in him, which he's been kind of iffy. So I honestly don't know how he's gonna do, but I think they would take Kwity Paye here.
Nathan?
Yeah, I also wouldn't really trust Drew Lock. I mean, I know they believe in him for some reason, but yeah, I mean, I can see them taking Kwity Paye too. But I've also heard some things. I'm not that educated about the Broncos, but I've also heard that they might try to trade Von Miller or something. So I actually think because Micah Parsons in this thing, he's still on the board. So uh, I think there's a possibility they take Micah Parsons too. But I think if I had to choose right now, I would say Kwity Paye.
Yeah, I think Micah Parsons could also be a good fit here. He does a lot of blitzing, but he is from the middle linebacker position, so I don't know if that's exactly what they want here at the 9th pick. But yeah, I definitely think getting another edge rusher to go alongside with Bradley Chubb would definitely be a good pick. And I think Kwity Paye is a no-brainer decision. Now, here the final pick of today's video will be the Dallas Cowboys, a team who almost made the playoffs in the worst division in football history, ended up with a number 10 pick, and wow. I mean, this team is really interesting. Who knows what's going to happen to Dak Prescott? Does he leave? Does he play on another franchise tag? I don't know. This is a really early mock draft because we're just so uncertain of what's going to happen during this free agency period this year. But as of right now, we all know that they have had one of the worst defenses in league history this year. And I think they definitely need to go somewhere on the defensive side and play better on that side of the ball. Dylan, what do you think they do here at number 10?
Definitely cornerback Caleb Ferry. Yeah, their secondary is atrocious. It's horrible. I was honestly, I actually think that I don't trust in Drew Lock. I have no trust in him. So I think if I was the Broncos, I would take Trey Lance, which would leave a Kwity Paye available, so they can maybe take him too. Because DeMarcus Lawrence, he's overpaid. He's not really that good in my opinion. So it really depends on what the ninth pick too. But I think going off what we have right here, I think Caleb Ferry is easily the best option. Their secondary, just their defense in general, like you said, is horrible.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. Nathan, what do you think about Caleb Farley going at number 10 to Dallas?
Yeah, I agree with Dylan. I mean, assuming that Caleb Farley is still on the board, I would take him in a heartbeat. Their secondary is just so bad. But if Kwity Paye is still available, I guess I would consider that too. But with who's on the board for who we created, I would definitely go Caleb Farley here.
Okay, now Micah, here's the thing. The offensive line of the Dallas Cowboys has slowly depleted over the years, and obviously you saw the hit that they took this year. A lot of guys like Sam Martin and Tyron Smith missing a lot of time. Do you think it would make sense to choose an offensive lineman over a defensive player here at number 10?
I don't. Yeah, I definitely think it's possible, but oh god, I really don't know what they would take here. Maybe they could take Wyatt Davis, but I really think they need defense because other than let's see here, Caleb Farley, they could take other defensive players, but I think he's probably the best option. And at their pick, I think like it's just taking the best available because Zach Wilson, not sure about him, or not Zach Wilson. Excuse me, Michael Parsons. Not sure about him because they already have Vander Esch. They're probably gonna keep him around, although he's all right, but I think he's doable rather than their corners right now. Their corners are just terrible. I see them taking Caleb Farley. I really don't see them taking an O-line over here. It's just the best available.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, losing Byron Jones this year has proven to be one of the biggest losses of last offseason for the Dallas Cowboys. And obviously, guys like Chidobe Awuzie and Anthony Brown just aren't really cutting it in that secondary. But that is going to conclude our first 10 picks of this 2021 mock draft. I have one more question to ask you guys. Who do you guys, like, this may sound like a stupid question, but who do you guys think has the best value pick here in the top 10 picks of the draft? I'm going to go to Nathan first.
I guess obviously the Jaguars, or I also think the Jets still have a really good pick because they have so many options and they can pretty much get whoever they want except Trevor Lawrence with it. So I think the Jets have a pretty good pick too, or pretty good value pick is the word you use. So yeah.
Yeah, let's not forget that Justin Fields ultimately did outplay Trevor Lawrence this year in the semifinals of the national championship. So yes, they also get their franchise quarterback at number 2, and I think that is a great value pick for the Jets. Dylan, who do you think has the best value pick in the first 10 picks of this draft?
In my opinion, I think the Dolphins do. They control their own destiny right here. They almost made the playoffs this year, and they have a top 3 pick. So they could do really anything with this pick. They could take a wide receiver. They could take a tackle. Penny Sewell, just like we said, they could do anything with this pick. They're in a really good position right now as a franchise. So yeah.
And then finally, Micah, who do you think has the best value pick in the top 10 this year?
I'm gonna go with the surprising one. I really think the Eagles have a good pick, only because I think Devontae Smith can play a huge role in their offense, especially with Zach Ertz retiring, and that was basically their only weapon on the field. Like they don't. Miles Sanders missed some time this year, and the receivers have been terrible. Zach Ertz hasn't even been that good. I mean, they have Dallas Goedert, but he's all okay. And I think I'm gonna assume that Jalen Hurts is starting next year, and he's also played with Devontae Smith because he went to Alabama right before, and I think they already have that chemistry going. So I think that Devontae Smith can be a huge wide receiver for them, and he can be like an absolute playmaker out there.
Those are all very diverse answers there, and I think all of them make completely a lot of sense. Obviously, if we wanted to make this boring, we would all choose the Jaguars, but yeah, there are a lot of reasons to believe that all of these picks are they're going to be the future and they're going to build the foundation for these teams in the near future. But for me, I think Atlanta has the best value pick here only because it is so rare to see them in the top 5, not even the top 10, the top 5. And I think for them to land a top 5 pick in this draft that is so quarterback heavy, I think this might be the best pick of the draft if Zach Wilson does end up panning out for them. But yeah, that is going to do it for today's video. We will have a part 2 coming out sometime. Those will be picks 11 to 21. But until then, I will see you guys later. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys all later.